This early morning, let's explore emptiness, and then let's meditate. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. Welcome to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is brought to you by the kind-hearted folks who help support this channel on Patreon. This morning, we could chant and meditate and enjoy a lesson or two, but first, if you love Star Wars and you wish to meditate as transformatively as Rey on Ahch-To under the guidance of Luke Skywalker, be sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell. Good news! If at any point during this morning's live stream, any point at all, you have a specific question about Buddhist meditation or Buddhist philosophy or how to apply them to your life, simply type your question in great detail in the chat window on the right-hand side of the screen. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever we noticed during our previous inhalation, so we'll stop right there. Thanks to evolutionary biology, thanks to natural selection, every time we inhale, we automatically access our sympathetic nervous system, which has evolved not to actively concentrate, but merely to notice. How to notice? Vulnerably, passively, viscerally, and randomly. We are wired to notice sights, sounds, sensations, flavors, scents, and the like. We're wired to notice our emotions, intentions, thoughts, memories, and imaginings. We could notice the external, the internal, the physical, the mental, the pleasurable, the painful, the interesting, the boring, the glorious, and the grotesque. What are we to do with all this stuff? Fortunately, every time we exhale, whether we know it or not, over great oceans of time, natural selection has caused every exhalation to automatically access our parasympathetic nervous system, which has evolved to both physically relax as well as mentally release. So one of the great ironies of the spiritual path is that mindfulness and meditation are already hardwired into the most fundamental aspect of our central nervous system. And as the wheel, the metaphoric wheel of evolution has rolled on millennia after millennia after millennia, and species' brains have grown in size and complexity, the potential to become oblivious to this ancient self-regulating mechanism becomes more and more of a problem. Fortunately, at this point in our evolution, both as organisms and as society, we can read, we can have access to teachings of great wise people who are able to plug in and rediscover these lost pathways and use them in the most therapeutic way possible. over the centuries, people have tried to explain what's going on during meditation. And they will often use similes. And similes are great. But because of the way we're wired, eventually similes become metaphors. And metaphors are powerful. But those who are rigid have great difficulty perceiving a figure of speech as a figure of speech, and instead perceive a figure of speech as a literal statement. And that gives rise to great absurdities and difficult things. There are people who insist you cannot become a Buddha until you've earned a PhD in the subject. There are others who are convinced you can't become a Buddha until you practice for the length of 3 great aeons, for the duration of time it takes the universe to come into existence, to fade away, and to do that 2 more times. However, when we read the Satipatthana Sutta, in the concluding portion, the Buddha explains that full enlightenment could be accomplished in less than 7 years, or 7 quarters, or 7 months, or 7 fortnights, or 7 weeks, or even 7 days. So, whenever someone tells you about how to become a Buddha, if they won't tell you a system that can be done in a week, you should probably still keep shopping. The system I give you can be done in a week. However, it takes a while to get comfortable. For instance, very few people can sit down the first time and be physically comfortable with an hour of meditation or 30 minutes of chanting. And that's understandable. Some people can become conditioned in a week. Some people take a month. Some people take 6 months. Bottom line, if you practice 5 minutes every 12 hours the first week, and every week tack on 5 minutes to your twice daily practice, 5 minutes in the morning, 5 more minutes in the evening, and you advance at that rate about weekly, then within less than 6 months, you'll be physically ready to sit for a 7-day retreat at home without traveling to a foreign land and spending money on accommodations. Most people can take a 1-week vacation annually, or they can save up their sick days. So for most people who are able-bodied, this is a possibility. For people who are not able-bodied and who already live on disability, the question is, it may take longer to build up the physical strength necessary to sit. Does that mean if you're disabled, you can't practice? No, I'm disabled. I can practice. Sometimes my practice only lasts 30 seconds, but it's still practice. If you are disabled and you want to be able to improve your health so that you can practice, let me know. In the description area below the video, I'll show you right now. Let's hit button number 8 real quick. And I'll tap over here to this tab. And I'll have to do the refresh. So this is an MD. So through the PCRM organization, for free, they will help you find a physician who will meet with you either over telehealth or in your local area, who is an MD, who is also well-versed in the state-of-the-art research concerning evidence-based nutrition. And they can help you to cope with your disabilities with strategies that are profoundly effective. Now let's return to the lesson at hand. If you've just tuned in, good morning. When you have a specific question about the Buddhist meditation or Buddhist philosophy or how to apply them, simply type your question in great detail in the chat window on the right-hand side of the screen. So let's continue. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever we noticed during our previous inhalation can now feel as non-graspable as a vast empty void. So as we breathe in, our perceptual acuity is sharp. As we relax into our exhalation, it becomes easier and easier to physically relax and mentally release our grasp on our perceptions, our grasp on our experience. A fool would tell you, see, those things aren't real, they're just imaginary, they're not really there. The great Buddhist philosopher, South Indian philosopher Nagarjuna taught of the two truths. And the two truths are mindfulness and meditation. Noticing and releasing. Now, just as a bird requires both its wings to take to the sky, likewise, we need both perception and release to become fully happy, healthy, and well-adjusted. So this is a lovely statement, and it can be more power, and it's pretty much a simile right here. This non-graspability, as we relax into our exhalation, that which we perceived during our previous inhalation can now feel as if it was as non-graspable as a vast, empty void. Now, any good elementary school English teacher will remind you that a simile is only as powerful as it is relatable. So, what's a real-world example of a non-graspable empty void? Not a theoretical example drawn from particle physics, for most of us are not employees of CERN, but something that we can relate to viscerally from our workaday lives. The illusion of the infinite azure sky on a beautiful cloudless morn, which, although compelling to the eye, is not graspable to the hand. Imagine it is a comfortable summer morn. You have a nice, thick, water-resistant picnic blanket. You lay it down on the grass. You lie on your back on top of it so you don't get wet from the dew, and gaze up at the blue sky first thing in the morning. The sun's not directly overhead, so it won't sting your eyes. And as you look at that beautiful blue of the cloudless sky, it's compelling. And our inner child might cause us to reach up towards the blue sky. But when we open up our hands, I guarantee we will not find blue. We will not find sky. So the sky is appearing, yet resists our attempts to grasp at it. Now, this is not scientific, it's purely visceral, but that it reminds us that things can be appearing yet non-graspable. If you're a fan of Mel Brooks and you've ever seen Young Frankenstein, there's a scene where the creature, played by Peter Boyle, first hears music, and he tries to reach for the sound out of the air, and of course cannot. So sound is resounding, yet non-graspable. You might smell in the air the scent of your favorite dessert comes straight out of the oven. Although you can smell it in the air, you cannot grasp the scent. It is fragrant, yet non-graspable. When I was a little boy, I could watch someone on TV, like in an episode of The Wild Wild West. This was way back in the 70s, receiving a massage. And I'd feel the chills as if I was receiving a massage. And your body is capable of experiencing sensations of pleasure, but we can't really grasp them. It doesn't work that way. So things can be sensual, yet non-graspable. So what we see is sight, sound, scent, sensation, flavor. You can eat your favorite dessert at last. And the moment you take that first forkful or your first spoonful and you put it in your mouth, you feel biochemical fireworks in your body and in your brain. But with the second spoonful, it's less. And the third spoonful, it's less. It's non-graspable. It is flavorful, yet non-graspable. So it's not that they don't exist. It's that our tendencies to, our controlling tendencies, our survival tendencies to shove and reach and cling are often fruitless. There are so many things in our life out of our control. But our primal survival drives, which are excellent tools, make for terrible bosses. And when they control our choices and our utterances and our deeds, we find that whatever stressors in our life there are exacerbated, are made worse. And so to be able to perceive what we perceive and yet let go of what we perceive, to perceive our impulses, to hear the suggestions of our inner Mr. Hyde and yet let go of them, is to liberate ourselves from the tyranny of ancient impulses that no longer serve us quite as well as they once did a very long time ago. Let's turn our attention to the latest iteration of the Easy Tantra of Green Heroin, our practice text, or sadhana, if you're fancy. Me and my schnoz need to make music. We'll be right back. And I'm back. Thank you for your patience. Let us exercise the neural pathways responsible for empathy and enthusiasm simply by reciting the next 4 lines together. May I liberate all beings from the tyranny of hating, craving, and clinging by relying on the Buddha's example, instructions, and students. May I liberate all beings from the tyranny of hating, craving, and clinging by relying on the Buddha's example, instructions, and students. May I liberate all beings from the tyranny of hating, craving, and clinging by relying on the Buddha's example, instructions, and students. Let's contemplate impermanence and interdependence in a distinctly figurative manner through the cunning use of 8 rhetorical questions, 4 chanted, 4 silent. Together, What could it look like if of all circumstances our lots blissfully and impermanently melted into rainbow light that interdependently absorbed into this body or form? One moment. Okay. During your inhalation, so we take that big long thing and we shrink it down to 6 syllables, which we divide between our inhalation and our exhalation. What can it feel like if all forms or bodies blissfully and impermanently melted into rainbow light that interdependently absorbed into this interpersonal communication or speech? Whoops, that was a disaster. Let's see. There are some who insist that contemplating emptiness is dangerous unless it could lead you to behave in a cruel and ruthless manner, unless you're first grounded in the fear of karma and negative rebirth. I would disagree with that. First of all, the Buddha taught that full enlightenment could be accomplished in a week. And number two, we are already wired by natural selection and evolution to have an empathy center. If the only reason we refrain from cruelty and ruthlessness is fear of punishment, then we are not healthy. We are sociopaths or psychopaths, and we need psychiatric care. For normal, healthy humans, the only time we are out of empathy, the only time we are in fear or ruthlessness, is when we are in peril, actual or perceived. Which is one of the reasons why economic systems and governmental systems based on coercion and fear actually increase crime, because neurologically they cause the most ruthless areas of our underbrain to light up. We need a government and an economy that are structured around safety and well-being, for that helps people to live from empathy, which peer-reviewed studies have shown is a far superior motivator to fear and competitiveness. When we meditate in a healthy manner, it frees us from the tyranny of our experience of peril and helps us to access empathy in a manner that is spontaneous and uncontrived and functions as our default mechanism. If the methods of meditation we are using do not create that effect, then we need to take a new look at what meditation methods we are using. Let's continue. What could it sound like if all interpersonal speech blissfully and impermanently melted into rainbow light that interdependently absorbed into this mind? What could it look like if all minds blissfully and impermanently melted into rainbow light that interdependently absorbed into our vast empty void? We come now to the first of two silent meditations. Our opening silent meditation, where we train in awareness and letting go, which serves as an antidote to clinging, and is known by many names, such as Great Completion Stage Tantra. Remember, the essence of mindfulness is to silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during each inhalation. And the essence of meditation is to silently and mentally recite the three-syllable verb relaxing, or its counterpart, or its one-syllable counterpart ease, during each exhalation. Let's meditate. Having finished our first silent meditation, let us turn our attention now to mantra-oriented contemplations of love and letting go that serve as antidotes to hating and are known by many names, such as Generation Stage Tantra. Let us leap over our competitive tendencies by practicing mental-oriented love. Please chant with me. May all minds of all beings now be as wise and peaceful as the mind of a Buddha of law such as green Tara, symbolized by a one-syllable seed bija, mantra such as Tamo Tikle drop. Om Tare Du Dare Dure Swaha 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 May all relationships of all beings now be as loving and joyful as a real or imagined Buddha's communication symbolized by this 10-syllable mantra. Om Dare Du Dare Dure Swaha 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 May all bodies of all beings know and enjoy the beautiful health depicted in Buddhist thought of the blissful body of a Yidamavor and archetype of enlightenment such as Green Tata. Om Tare Du Dare Du Re Swaha. 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 Om Dare 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 Du Dare Du Re Swaha. May all circumstances or lots of all beings now have their safety, good fortune, or boon, as a Buddha's real or imagined paradise per land of Avanti. Om Dare Du Dare Du Re Swaha. 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 Now let us prepare to leap over our clinging tendencies by training in letting go. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever we noticed during our previous inhalation could feel as non-graspable as a vast empty void. Like the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and a beautiful cloudless morn, which although compelling to the eye is not graspable to the hand. How is it that as we inhale all circumstances or lots could appear quite vivid? Yet as we relax our exhalation they could feel as not graspable as a real or imagined paradise or vati of light. Om Dhare 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 Swaha 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 Om Dhare 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 Swaha. How is it that as we inhale all bodies or forms could feel quite sensual, yet as we relax into our exhalation they could feel as not graspable as a real or imagined archetype or yidam of light? Om Dhare 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 Swaha 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 How is it that as we... Oopsie. Excuse me. How is it that as we inhale the interpersonal experience of communication, our speech could be quite resounding, yet as we relax into our exhalation, they could feel as non-graspable? As a real or imagined mantra of light. Om Tadididadiduri Swaha, Om Tadididadiduri Swaha, Om Tadididadiduri Swaha, Om Tadididadiduri Swaha. Om Tadididadiduri Swaha, Om Tadididadiduri Swaha, Om Tadididadiduri Swaha, Om Tadididadiduri Swaha. Om Tadididadiduri Swaha, Om Tadididadiduri Swaha, Om Tadididadiduri Swaha, Om Tadididadiduri Swaha. Om Tadididadiduri Swaha, Om Tadididadiduri Swaha, Om Tadididadiduri Swaha, Om Tadididadiduri Swaha. How is it that as we inhale we could perceive our mind's functions quite clearly, yet as we relax into our exhalation they could feel as not graspable as a real or imagined seed-settable atom of light? Om Tadididadiduri Swaha, Om Tadididadiduri Swaha, Om Tadididadiduri Swaha, Om Tadididadiduri Swaha. Om Tadididadiduri Swaha, Om Tadididadiduri Swaha, Om Tadididadiduri Swaha, Om Tadididadiduri Swaha. Om Tadididadiduri Swaha, Om Tadididadiduri Swaha, Om Tadididadiduri Swaha, Om Tadididadiduri Swaha. Om Tadididadiduri Swaha, Om Tadididadiduri Swaha, Om Tadididadiduri Swaha, Om Tadididadiduri Swaha. This brings us to our second and final silent meditation of our early morning live stream. This bliss in letting go could serve as an antidote to craving. It is known by many names, such as completion stage tantra. We conclude with moderately spooky Buddhist voodoo shit. May light rays radiate from this suitable time in my heart, inviting Shamatara, surrounded by the assembly of Lamas, Yetams, Khandras, Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and Dharmapalas. Gods and demigods bow their crowns at your lotus feet. O liberator from all misfortune, to you, Mother Tara, I bow down. Homage to the noble Lady Tara. Homage to Tara, swift and gallant, whose glance flashes like flashes of lightning. Born on the heart of a blossoming lotus that arose from the tears of the triple world's Lord. Homage to whose countenance is like 100 full moons gathered in autumn, smiling and glowing with brilliant radiance like 1,000 stars clustered ablaze. Homage, golden blue lady, whose lotus hand is graced with a water-born flower, embodying generosity, diligence, endurance, serenity, patience, and meditation. Homage to her whose victories are endless, she is the jewel adorning the great Tathagata's crowns. She is well served by the years of the victors who have accomplished all the perfections. Homage to her who with tutare and whom fills the desire realms unto the ends of space. She tramples underfoot the 7 worlds and has the strength to summon all. One moment, quick edit. By the way, if you've just joined us, welcome aboard. When you have a specific question about Buddhist meditation or Buddhist philosophy or how to apply them to your life, simply type your question in great detail in the chat window on the right-hand side of the screen. So let's try this again. Who to tare and whom fills the desire. Oh boy, let's try this again. Who to tare and whom fills the desire roams onto the ends of space. She trembles under the seven worlds and has the strength to summon all. Who praised by Indra, Agni, Brahma, Maruts, and Shiva. Bhutas, Vetalas, Gandharvas, and Yakshas pay tribute to her. Who would tray and pay crushing enemies yantras. With right leg tucked in and left extended, shining she treads amidst flames wildly blazing. Who would to read this fearsome lady destroys the most powerful demons. With a deep furrowed brow upon her lotus face, she is the slayer of each and every foe. Whose fingers grace her heart, displaying the mudra of the three jewels. Graced by a wheel adorning every direction with a dazzling radiance that overwhelms all. Her supreme joy like a radiant garland that crowns her in splendor. Smiling and laughing with Tutare, she brings demons and the world under control. Who can summon the host of earthly guardians. Her crown quivers and the suitable whom delivers us from every misfortune. Her so brightly adorned with a sliver of moon as her crown. Amitabha graces her locks, his gleaming rays are streaming forever forth. Who seated in a halo blazing with apocalyptic flames, her right leg outstretched and left drawn in. Immersed in joy, she crushes legions of foes. Who on earth's surface strikes her palm and stomps her feet. Her brow deeply furrowed, with whom she fills the seven nether worlds. Her blissful, gracious domain with a peace of nirvana. With Om and Swaha in perfect union, she lays waste to every terrible evil. Who immersed in rapture shatters the bodies of all her foes. She manifests her wisdom suitable, whom displaying each of her mantras and syllables. Stomping her feet, whose seat appears in the form of Hung, shaking Manmeru, Mandara, Bindu, Chalan, the triple world. Mother holding the rabbit-marked moon, which is like a heavenly lake, dispelling all poison with a sound of paean, the twice-spoken Tare. Mother served by the ruler of the hosts of gods, by the gods and Kinnaras, dispelling conflicts and bad dreams with her armor of joy and splendor. Mother, whose two eyes are like the sun and full moon shining with brilliant light, who dispels deadly disease with Tutare and twice-uttered Hara. Mother, endowed with the power to pacify by the display of the three natural states, destroying the hosts of evil spirits, yakshas, and the walking dead, to a most excellent Mother. This is the praise with a root mantra, and these are the 21 homages. Om Amashu, the noble lady Tara, Amashu Tare, quick one heroine. With you, Tare, you are the one who banishes all fear. With Ture, the liberator who bestows all benefits, and with Swaha, may it be so. May all mind, speech, forms, and lots be as wise, loving, healthy, and fortunate as green heroines, real or imagined, suitable mantra archetype in paradise. May all beings like green heroine master the Eightfold Path as well as liberate all others. May all beings practice of kind communication, conduct, and calmness, flow spontaneous and uncontrived. At the very end of each being's life, may they take immediate and auspicious rebirth, master the Buddha's path, and then help all others do likewise. May everyone be free from misery, may everyone be happy, may no one be separated from the happiness. May everyone have balance from the tyranny of hating, craving, and clinging freed. We seal our practice with Tada's wind horse. Whoops. Excuse me. Queen of space, savior of all beings, perfectly pure essence of wind that pervades all. You give birth to all worlds and cause them to flourish, noble lady Tada, I pay homage to you. Lady whose face gleams as white as the autumn moon by pacifying all adversity and affliction, and spontaneously bringing favorable conditions and fulfilling wishes. Generate the wind horse of dissolving the 8 dangers into space. Lady who shines as brightly as the golden sun by illuminating all decadence and poverty, and increasing lifespan, merit, wealth, and renown. Generate the wind horse of expanding prosperity and fortune. Lady who blazes with the luster of red rubies, by dispelling all dependency and misfortune, and bringing the whole apparent world under my control. Generate the wind horse of magnetizing the triple world. Lady who sparkles with blue sapphire brilliance, by repelling all enemies, obstacles, and harm, and granting total victory over all danger and adversity. Generate the wind horse of overpowering demonic hordes. Lady who beams with emerald green light by pacifying all unwanted circumstances, and accomplishing all aims with auspicious glory. Generate the wind horse of acting on a space-like scale. Om ye dharma he tu prabhava he tun te shantata gato yavatat te shantaso yo te shansayo niruda evam vadi mahashramana swaha. If you feel that I have earned it, you could type something in the chat window. You could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could share it with a friend. You could even help support this channel on Patreon. In approximately 10.5 hours, I would very much like to return to lead tonight's evening meditation. Until then, May you and yours be happy and healthy. And if you are as geeky as me, this is the way.